doing that.
Okay.
So we on.
All right, we ready.
We ready. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my girl, Shima. She is the best financial advisor a man or woman could look to. And tonight's topic is near and dear to my heart because one of the things we like to do is, as Black people, we like to talk money because a lot of people don't like to talk money. It's like a taboo thing. But the thing we're talking about tonight is wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about it from two phases of wealth.
Okay.
How to gain it and how do you lose it? So let's start with how do you gain, because a lot of people don't know how do you gain. So talk about how do you gain wealth if you don't come from a wealthy background.
Okay. Talking about how to gain wealth covers a number of different things, but I want to start with the basic.
Okay.
To know, wealth is not about money.
Okay.
Wealth is a mindset.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to start, adjusting our mindset that wealth is attainable, because if we change our mindset as to what is available to anybody, we can start there. And it's not about, okay, I have $100,000 or $200,000, but what am I doing with that in order to create something that's going to be lasting beyond my generation? So when I say it's a mindset, it's learning about how to maximize the dollars that you have coming in to make it not you working for the dollars, but how can you make those dollars work more for you?
Now, what about the people who have the excuse of, I come from this background, I never had anybody help me, I don't have a college education. What would you say to a person who clings to that mentality?
Change your mindset and get busy learning. Because I keep it real. I don't allow people to give me excuses as to why they can't do something. And I'm sure you do the same thing with the overall total package of a woman. You can't make progress making excuses. You got to do one or the other. So your background really is not a factor going forward to determine whether you can achieve wealth or not. So what that means is you're just going to have to put a little extra effort in and work a little harder and learning what true wealth is. You're going to have to become a student of wealth. And you're going to have to start learning more things about how your money needs to be working for you. And you're going to hear me say that often. Money needs to be working for you. You need to be asked.
Now go back to that. Okay. Money should be working for you. Okay. Let me say this. I think a lot of times we get caught up and we have been brought up to think that we work for money, that it's an hourly deal. It's a weekly deal. It's the first of the month. It's the 15th. If you've always had that mentality, how do you change that mentality when it has been ingrained in you your whole entire life? When did it happen for you?
It happened for me back in 2001. It happened for me when I learned of a multimillionaire real estate African-American woman here in Atlanta. She came from a huge family. They grew up poor, but she turned her story around and they became millionaires through real estate. So I became her student. And for 3 or 4 years, I sat up under her teaching to find out what she did to go from, because she worked in corporate America. How do you work yourself out of a job or out of a career per se that you don't enjoy into doing something that not only you enjoy, but it's going to be paying you while you enjoy doing it? So I say find someone. If you can't find someone, get a book. Robert Kiyosaki talks about the 4 different quadrants with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, knowing that employees and even self-employed people, you're still working.
Because that's on the left side of the quadrant.
That's the left side of the quadrant.
And then what's on this side of the quadrant, since we're talking Kiyosaki?
Business ownership and investing.
Come on, talk about this side, because we know about the employee and the self-employed on this side. Mm-hmm. Now, talk about this side, because see, we as Black folks, we don't talk about this side. We don't talk about the business owner and the investor. Let's talk about here first. What are some of the benefits of being a business owner?
The first benefit I would say is freedom.
Yes.
That you can have choices, that you can make more choices with your time, because once time is gone, you can't get it back. And that's what most people want more of, and that's time.
Right.
And being a business owner, you will free yourself up. You will free up your time to be able to do those things that are important to you. Take care of your spouse, your children, serve in your community, because that's what it's really all about. How can I be fulfilled while doing something that I enjoy doing? So, for example, if you open up a bakery and you love to bake, and everybody tell you how your cakes and your pies and everything are slamming, that's a gift that you need to take and start selling it. So you can put yourself up, and eventually, like the candy cakes lady, it will become something that not only it takes care of you, but it also can take care of generations after you. Let me give freedom.
Let me give you something good. Now, when I was on this side over here, I used to work at Gold's Gym when I first started. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I would have to open up that gym I was supposed to be there at 4:30, but I like to hang out. So I would get there at 5:00, and it would be like every morning, and I'm opening up this store. Now, how my schedule went when I was working for people, was kind of like this. Get there about 5. You pretty much did the sales piece from probably 8 to about noon. Mm-hmm. Now, this is when I first started training. So I would basically be there from like 5 to noon / 1 o'clock. Then I'd have to come back at 4 to do my training stuff with my people. And that would go from 4 to probably 11. Mm-hmm. And I was killing myself.
Yes.
And I tell you what the eye opener was for me. We would always have these sheets that would come in. Mm-hmm. And I was maybe, and this is going to sound real poor, but I was in small town Clifton, South Carolina, and I probably did, let's see, every 2 weeks, I probably was doing maybe $500, $600, $700. And look, I thought I was doing it.
Every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks. But you gotta keep in mind, the apartment that I lived in was like $350. You know how it is when you're on the college campus. Everything is like $3 to $4. You can always find something. But long story short, the sheet came in, and it basically had how much the gym was doing for the month. Mm-hmm. And then I compared that to what I was doing for the month. And if I'm not mistaken, the gym was doing like 35, 40,000 a month.
Yes.
And then I was comparing that to my every 2 weeks. And I was like, I got to make a change. Long story short, when I decided to go from being an employee, which would, on the Kiyosaki chart, it would be ENS. So I was an employee when I was making basically $1,000 a month. I made the transition from being that to being here, to being a business owner, and learning how to take what I've learned and create my own brand and to build my brand. And then it's so funny because the larger you get what you're thinking, the more God gives you. Then it's like, okay, well, let's add some streams to this business. Yes. And so I went from doing $500-$600 every 2 weeks to now we're projecting to do $2 million this year. But it's a mindset from going from here, the employee, to the business person.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So
your mindset.
It's a mindset. And then also, even with that, what you were saying about the mentorship, everybody who's watching this, I'm encouraging you to find a mentor because they've been through it and they will save you some time on your mistakes.
Yes.
I encourage you to find yourself a mentor because I have 3. A friend of mine told me, and best advice I ever had and gotten in life was this: you need to have a board for your life.
Yes.
You need to have your own personal committee.
Yes.
To where if you have an issue in a certain area of your life, you should have a person who is blessed in that area of life who will basically become your shortcut.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you can't find anybody in particular right now, start with the book. I mean, Google, social media. I mean, Instagram, Twitter. You can find people who release good, solid information and are willing to share and will help you at least jumpstart what you're trying to do. And as you take steps to go along the path, more doors are open up for you. But you have to be willing to make a shift in how you're doing things currently. Because you said the second part is, how do you destroy wealth?
Yes.
You know, I tell people, when I work with my clients, I work with 2 forms, and I want everybody to be in the black. You need to treat yourself today, March 2016. You need to make a mindset shift that I am a business owner, even with my personal finances. You need to start treating your business, your personal finances like a business. You need to have a cash flow statement.
Yes.
That's, in other words, a budget. Since people don't like using the word budget, I give them a sophisticated term. Your cash flow statement. You know, what you have coming in versus what you have going out, and your net worth, your personal net worth statement. That's what you own versus what you owe. My job is to help people get in the black.
Yes.
Because if you're not in the black, then you're in the red, and that's how you destroy wealth.
Yes. And it's so funny because I was talking.
Right.
It's so funny. I was talking to my bricks, and I asked the question, what do you have, more of a problem? What's more of a problem for you? Saving? And I already knew the answer. Was it saving or making more money? A lot of them said saving. And I used to think the same way until a mentor of mine told me one time, you don't have a savings problem, you have a cash flow problem.
Yes.
So essentially what he said to me was, if you use all of your talents and you stop sitting on your talents, or maybe if you are, you're ultra talented in this area here, why not, while you're here, shift not too far from where your greatness is and create another stream? It's like with me, I'll do, we have so many streams with this company here. We'll do DVDs, we'll do online workouts, we'll do supplements. I'll go to different places and work folks out. And then on top of that, then I'm opening up these hair salons all over the country. They did a study that basically says the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And
but
so
that one branch, it came out of that one area of talent.
That one area.
So it's in everybody.
Yes.
It's in everybody. You're not out over here trying to sell stuff that ain't your lane. You are in your lane, and it just keeps flowing. But you have to work in and do something with your cash flow, because at some point you had to make a decision to prioritize how you were spending the money you had in order to continue to create streams of income. I'm sure, you wouldn't be where you are today if you was trying to keep up with everybody and whatever it looked like they're trying to do, but you reinvested back in yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say that last part. I did what?
You reinvested back into yourself.
Talk about reinvesting in yourself. Because people will invest in Beyonce tickets.
I won't comment. I won't even.
I'm gonna go there. They'll invest in the Beyonce tickets. They'll, invest in those Carnival cruise lines. They'll go to Puerto Rico. They'll go to the DR. But whenever it comes time to start that business that's been planted on the inside of them, they'll always say, well, I don't have money. Right. Explain. Well, hey, let me ask you this. How much money does it really take to start yourself something? In this age of technology where you don't have to go anywhere to start a business.
I say it starts with nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's nothing. It starts with nothing. That's why I'm gonna keep saying it's a shift in mindset, because I see a lot of people wanting to get a certain place really, really fast.
Right.
You know,
it don't have that way, do it?
It don't. Not anything that's gonna be lasting and
right.
Pay returns, because investing is about long term and it's gonna pay you back over time. But if you try to hit it off overnight, then I can't really advise you on that. Because
does it kind of go back to what we talk about as Christians in terms of seed time, harvest time?
Yes, and the main word is time.
Time. Say that again.
The main word is time. Wealth is built over time.
Yes.
If you find a legitimate business owner, they will tell you it took time, it took sacrifice.
Come on.
It took a lot of risk taking. It took a lot of tears. It took a lot
pain.
Of frustration. It took a lot,
pain.
But it was worth it in the
end.
But that takes a mindset shift that you are going to have to put some work in to see this thing happen. But you have to be hungry enough for your freedom to stay the course.
I'm sorry, say that last word. You said freedom.
Freedom. You got to be hungry enough for your freedom to stay the course.
And I think the other part that people miss also too, when you're starting when you're starting a business, when you're stepping out on faith, when you're doing something that's foreign to you, you honestly have to look at your business as a person, as a baby. So it's kind of like you have to constantly feed. Mm-hmm. You have to constantly feed your child.
Yes.
Daily. You have to feed your child daily in terms of your time, your energy, your focus, your money, and you have to move. You have to sacrifice not going somewhere with your people and your friends, because again, they're not striving to do the same thing you're trying to do.
Exactly. They're not going to be on the scene at everything.
No.
They're just not. You're not going to find a real millionaire that's on the scene with everything and everybody all the time. It's just not, because they have things that they're working on and working towards. You said something real key, because with having a newborn, my whole life has changed. My focus has changed. My energy has changed. My schedule has changed, because he constantly needs my attention. And that analogy of business like a baby, I'm not watching TV 17 hours a week.
I can't do it.
I'm not hanging out. My focus is making sure that he's taken care of. And you have to see your business such as that. It's your baby. And if you want it to grow and nurture and mature in order to pay you returns and dividends, you're just going to have to change the way you do things.
Right.
You gotta make those changes. You have to make that mindset shift.
Now let's talk about losing money.
You said it, Beyonce tickets, the board.
How do you look? How do you? First of all, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about
buying cars.
Let's talk about not taking chances.
Okay.
Let's talk about playing it safe. I always encourage people, look, in this day and age, you can't go by what you were taught, because what we were taught basically was this: you go to school, you work at the same job for X amount of years, get your retirement, get your nice little watch, boom, it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. How has that changed?
It has changed. That is totally obsolete, and that does not exist anymore. Companies are not taking care of employees anymore. That's why you see more financial advisors. You see more advertisements for 401k, IRAs. because you're going to have to position yourself to get on the right side of that quadrant, like we were talking about. Yes,
the business and the investor.
Yes, because you're going to have to position yourself to take responsibility for your future. Pensions are not there like it used to be. Social Security is not what people think it is. It's pennies, and you will not be able to survive off of Social Security. So you are going to have to position yourself to learn and be okay with making mistakes. That was one of the areas that used to hinder me, because I like for things to be 1 + 1 is 2. I don't like for stuff to deviate too much. But in order to be successful at investing, you're going to have to take some risks.
Yes.
You may not always win, but if you stay in the game, you will win. And that's what I've learned, even of myself, of stepping out into new things and new territories that's unfamiliar. You're going to make mistakes because you're going down a path that maybe nobody has gone before, or maybe you don't see how it was done. But the reward, we got to keep our minds and our focus on what is the reward? What am I committed to do this for? You have to have a purpose that's strong enough for you to stay the course and be willing to take those risks, because, without taking risks, there will be no rewards. It's just not going to happen. Right.
I always tell people that the greatest risk you can take is not taking one at all.
Yes, that's good.
And you can't score. Look, and the other thing is you can't score from watching on the sideline. If you're always on the sideline, I've never seen a person in the stands get credited for a jump shot or scoring a touchdown.
Right.
You have to get in the game. But getting back on this side of the quadrant, when I first started my business, one of the reasons why I started the business was that it always scared me to be on this side, on the employee side, because I have a strong personality. I always knew I wasn't going to work for nobody.
Right.
I have a strong and big personality. So it always scared me to the point of, I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm just going back 15, 20 years ago, if somebody doesn't like me, I'm done.
Yes.
Car goes back, house goes, everything goes based upon somebody's opinion of me. So I have to change who I am. Which I wasn't going to do, because I'm trying to hang out and I'm trying to keep what's mine. So it always, one of the greatest things my daddy always told me, he always said, never put your eggs in one basket, son.
That's right.
And that's what a lot of people do. They'll just put their eggs in that one basket, in that one job, and just hope. I hope I don't say nothing wrong. I hope nobody reports me. I hope nobody has it in for me. That's a hard way to live.
Yeah.
Hoping. And I always have to constantly, stay in your lane. Don't rock the boat. This, that, and the other. That's why I hopped on this side of the quadrant.
Yes.
Because, again, I've always said, I've always had this firm belief that if it's on me, I'm good.
Right.
But anytime I leave it up to somebody else for my destiny, I'm in trouble. I trust me, but I don't trust him over there.
Yes. Yes.
So how has your life changed since you've empowered yourself with owning your own stuff?
It has changed tremendously, because in a sense of, it has continued to fuel my passion of, number one, making sure that people are educated financially. And, a lot of times, I used to try to figure out what was my purpose. What am I supposed to be doing? What are my gifts and what are my talents? And I know a lot of people still have those questions and are frustrated about that. And most of the time, you're probably already doing it. You're just somebody else.
Yeah, I always say anything you would do for free, that's your gift.
Yes.
And I think you relegated it to just singing and being able to shoot a basketball.
It's so much you can do.
Yeah, when leadership is a gift. Being able to talk to people, being able to lead people is a gift. And I think we sleep on that. But that's how you find your gift, the stuff that you would already doing for free.
Right. And be
somebody else.
And know that there's a lot of somebody's out there that's willing to either listen to you, if that's what your gift is, that's willing to invest in you, invest in your product, because, a lot of times we have a lot of self-esteem issues. Self-doubt issues.
I done lost you.
Oh, okay.
No, okay. Now you back with me now. Go ahead.
Yes, but self-esteem issues, self-doubt issues over the years, wondering if my gift will be received. I was more focused on, okay, am I going to be received? And if I am I going to be received well? But at the end of the day, you have to push all that junk to the side and realize that your gift is not just for you. Your gift will help you build wealth. Yes, absolutely. But you owe it. You owe it to pay it forward with your gift to help someone else. And that's another way to create wealth. If you can solve problems for somebody else like you, you're taking a woman and making her into a brick house. You know how many women like being called a brick house?
Yeah,
that's just so simple. The Commodores to.
I'm saying, and that's where I got it from. Because I was like, everybody wants to be a brick house. But getting back to what you were saying, I heard. I don't know if you're familiar with T. Harv Eker. He has a book called The Millionaire Mind.
Yes.
And basically, what he was saying was, your money, the money that you get, is a result of the people that you help. So if you are the answer to a problem and you can help a lot of people with that problem, you'll never deal in lack.
You won't.
Ever.
You won't.
Yeah. So it all goes back to the amount of people that you can help, that you can service, and the money is the end result. So chase the service piece and not the money.
Oh, please look. Say that again real slow, because that is golden.
People miss the service piece of it. I mean, they really do, because again, people always chasing after the loot when when the money is the end result of your service. So chase after the service, but people miss the service piece of it because I'm trying to get me a Bentley. I'm trying to get me a bit. All that'll come if you continue to. First of all, if you find what your dominant gift is, and you find a way to make sure everybody gets your gift. And really, people don't have an excuse not to make sure people receive their gift, because you have the internet. You have, like what we're on now. You have Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You have no excuse not to be seen or be heard.
You just got to know that you got to know that you will be received. That's the thing. And it's okay to start small, because starting small is still starting.
Right.
It's still a start, whether you start in small, but you have to start. And like you said about taking risks, because I know a lot of people are still on the employee side and they want to know, how can I get out? Like, tell me how I can break out of this.
How would you advise somebody that's trying to make the transition from being an employee to a business owner?
First, don't quit your day job.
Right.
That's the first thing. But start testing the waters with your gift. If your gift is baking, bake something and sell it to somebody. Bake something and give it away. Do service, like you said, do service. Be a blessing to somebody. But at least start there to kind of getting the buzz out. And do free advertisement on Facebook. Like on Fridays, I do what I call a Friday financial fact.
I like that.
And it generates, interest. So you can do free advertising on Facebook, Twitter. You don't have to go out and do some huge campaign, but start where you are. Start with something. Do something small that wouldn't cause you to feel like overwhelmed, and trying to step out. And when you see it work, just keep stepping. Just keep stepping. Just keep stepping. Because if you keep stepping, you will eventually get to the point to where your gift will work you out of your job.
Right.
It'll work you out of it.
That's awesome. Now let me ask you this. What are some ways, what do you find are the biggest ways to lose money?
Not properly managing it is the
right.
Trying to keep up, investing in stuff that just has no value, none
right.
whatsoever. Buying stuff out of season that you know you can't afford,
right.
paying too much for stuff like a car or furniture because your credit is jacked up.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. It's a number of things how you can not be able to have the wealth that you're trying to have. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again where you currently are, I mean, it's still the same thing. It's going to be insanity, and you're going to be where you are year after year after year. You're going to have to make a shift. You're going to have to get some things prioritized. You're going to have to sit down and make your money go where you need for it to go with starting that business or doing and investing versus taking that cruise right now,
right.
or, buying that new car when right now the one that you have is sufficient. It's okay
right.
to use that what you have currently until you can have something that you can pay for that'll help you be in a better position versus hindering you. Paying, like I said, paying too much for stuff.
Right.
That you should not be paying for because you just feel like you absolutely cannot wait. Buying stuff for your kids just because they want it. When
right.
they want it, how they want it. So it's a matter of if you're mismanaging your money and not doing that personal finance statement each month to make sure you're going to stay in the black versus the red, you're never going to get ahead. You're never going to get ahead. And,
so is wealth building, is it pretty much like a team sport to where, like, even with you and your hubby, you have to be as a team? How and I read a study once that basically said something to the effect of that before somebody pretty much makes a major decision, they talk to 4 or 5 people before they make that major decision. How important is it that everybody who's on your team is on the same page with wealth building and with the concept of wealth building?
Well, first of all, we need to talk about who was on your team first, because some people that may be on your team may not need to be on your team.
Right.
Because if you're trying to build wealth, now I'm not talking about a spouse. I'm just talking about like a family member or somebody that you hold in high regard.
Close friend.
A close friend that you've been friends with. If they don't have that same mindset that you have, right now, I just can't share that part of my life with you because we are not connected. We don't have a vision, and you're going to cause me to be divided, and I'm not going to obtain my vision. So number one, you need to evaluate who is on your team first and foremost. And with your spouse or your significant other, fiance, that you do have to be on the same page, because if you're divided, like any two-headed monster, you get two visions is like a two-headed monster. You go nowhere.
Right. So, have you had to cut some people out of your life because they wasn't producing or maybe hindered you?
Yes.
That next level?
Yes, unfortunately, I've had to, and it hurt, because you have these personal connections, you have soul ties with people, and you love people, and you care about them. At least I do. And so along the way, when you see that you're really serious and they're not, you have to cut strings, and it's very difficult. And my husband and I would not be where we are today with buying a new home, having a baby and the successful businesses, if we had continued to hang out with the people of the same mindset. We have close friends, but even our close friends are business owners, and they continue to produce. So we all can keep one another encouraged. But if I'm constantly hanging out with somebody that's dragging me down, that's speaking negative, that's
Right.
telling me, girl, it don't take all of that, and you just need to be satisfied, you need to be content, then we at that point really don't have a relationship, because a
Right.
relationship is born out of things that we have in common.
Right.
And when we have that in common anymore, then honestly, you really can't be on my team. And it's not wrong, and it's not selfish.
Right.
Because I have a purpose in my life to build wealth, not just for myself, but for my kids and their kids and for the people in my community. So my purpose outweighs my feelings to keep connections that are no longer being productive for me.
Right, because certain things are just seasonal.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, this was good for college, but I'm not in college anymore.
Right.
This was good for when I was 30, but I'm 40 now.
Right.
So it's kind of like everything kind of shifts. And sometimes you have to know when that season of your life is over.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've outgrown it. I always tell people it's kind of like you being in college, but still wearing the same jeans you had in the 5th grade. It just don't look right.
They don't fit and they don't look right.
It don't look right. It don't fit. But that's what a lot of people do with relationships, with friendships, and things of that nature, and really don't even realize how much it really hinders them from growing beyond where they are. So let me ask you this, and I'll make this the last question for you. For the person who's trying to build wealth, who has a screwed up credit, went through bankruptcy, went through repo, can they get out of it? Can they have the fairy tale ending of being financially free, and how?
Absolutely. First thing I want to say is absolutely. The second thing is I want to say is forget the things that are old. God is doing a new thing.
Amen.
It is a new day. It is a new season. Whatever happened prior to this moment is done. You can't change that. And you need to forgive yourself, because that's what hinders a lot of people from moving forward, is to forgive yourself for the mistakes you have made. So once you've done all that, cleared your soul and forgiven yourself, receive forgiveness, the next thing you need to do is, like I'm going to keep saying it and keep saying, you need to be financially literate, because you need to know what you don't know that got you in that position in the first place.
Right.
So you're not good with using credit. You need to be pulling your credit for free. You need to find out the value of, you can have a credit card, but you need to keep the balance at 30% or below.
Right.
And you need to pay your bills on time. It's still it's old fashioned, but it's still real. You got to pay your bills on time.
Right.
And you need to know about how good it is to build your credit, because if you now want to go into real estate, instead of you trying to save up $10, $20, $30, $40,000, you can leverage buying some stuff so you won't have to use up all your liquid cash. But that comes through education.
Right. And people don't even understand that money, and it took me a while to get this too. People don't get that all money is leverage.
That's it.
That's all it is. Just being able to show this is what I have will get you more. And it goes back even to the myth of, people always think that debt is bad, but there is a such thing as good debt.
It's a such thing as being savvy enough to use this system to put yourself forward.
Yes.
Because it's a system out there. Either it's using you or you use it. It's one of the other. And we've been investing, like I tell people all the time, we are investors. Mm-hmm. We've just been investing in the wrong direction. We've been investing in them jeans, them bags, them bags,
concerts. All of that. We've been investing in other companies, but again, not investing in ourselves.
And so you have the mindset to invest, but now take that mindset and learn about, okay, instead of this taking money out of my pocket, what can I have to put money back into my pocket versus taking money out? That's why I tell people, you got to fill out them two forms, that cash flow statement.
Yes.
and that personal net worth statement. Because if you have more over here in this cash and your investable assets and your real estate, you know, you're going to be looking real good versus over here, you done bought too much car, you done bought too much vacation. I forgot what that stuff, you know, all that stuff that people just be buying, you know, on credit.
Right. Now let me ask you this, and I want to show people something. Just the different mentality that we had. And not to sound elitist, but yeah, to sound elitist. Because we're gonna pull a lot of people up with these informative talks that we have, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, dang, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I'm pretty sure if when people watch this broadcast, they'll be able to pull out 2 or 3 things that they didn't know upon watching this. Tell the people, and I'll do this too, tell the people your next 2 or 3 big moves that will produce positive cash flow in your life that you're about to do or currently doing.
Who, me?
Yes.
Real estate.
You know what? And the funny thing is, you said real estate.
That's been my baby for years.
You know, the beautiful thing is, you said real estate, but I'm going to be doing real estate too, and adding that to my portfolio in terms of just basically buying multifamily rentals and just rent them out to people in different parts of the country, college towns and stuff like that. Stuff that will continuously, and we'll save this for another day, but the beautiful thing about my business and how I've set my business up, when I first moved to Atlanta, there was this lady named Stormy Wellington. I'm sure a lot of people know who Stormy Wellington is. But she always talked about making sleepy money. And I never fully knew what sleepy money was. And then I said within myself, because I was like, what's sleepy money? She was like, that's when you make money in your sleep.
That's good.
So I set up my whole business that no matter where I'm at, and I also read The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss that changed my life also. Y'all make sure y'all get that out too. But long story short, I have a system in place to where even when I'm asleep, I'm making money. And that was my goal. And so we set that up. I wake up, boom, oh, happy birthday, Kenya. And then, but the cool thing with the real estate piece, when you study Fortune 500, when you study Forbes and you look at the top 100, top 200, top 500 people on their list, in their portfolio, 80% of those people had real estate.
We were just talking about that today.
They didn't have Beyonce tickets in their portfolio. They didn't have that trip. They had real estate. And the cool thing about real estate that people miss, that's a generational move.
Yes. My husband's grandmother, they own acres of land. They own a house. And when they passed away, they were able to leave house, lands, as well as cash. And so I feel we're obligated to keep that going.
I agree.
We're obligated to keep that going. And another piece I wanted to add is home ownership.
Yes.
Is huge. It is, that's a first step. If you can't just go and buy a rental, buy your own home if you don't have one. Buy somewhere where you can have some equity. That was one of the biggest things that we did as a family, is to buy a home, because equity, that's free money.
Right. And then
that's free money you can tap into.
And then what they don't tell you is you can refinance it after a few years, and they'll give you money for it.
Yes.
That's what they don't tell y'all. There's a whole bunch of stuff they don't tell y'all, like appraisers and stuff like that, who, when stuff continues up on the upswing and you say, you know what, I want to refinance my house, and then they give you money. And this is the trick, though. Instead of taking that money and buying something else that's going to create debt, start your business.
This is
invest in
business, real estate.
Right.
going that's going to start paying you. Let your
Yeah.
money have a purpose. Let your money work for you for a purpose. You know, I forgot which book, because I done read some of them, that talks about let your money be your employees. You start telling it what to do and how to work.
Make it your slave.
So it can start putting some money back into your pocket. So get your credit together so you can get some real estate. Get your credit together so you can buy stuff at the premium prices versus being subpar at everything.
Right.
Some initial steps, baby steps that doesn't cost anything, as well as stepping out there in your gift, testing the waters. Those are some simple things that can take up, a week of your time, just focusing on those two things to get yourself in a position of building wealth. Because like we said, it's a mindset. Put yourself out there for service. And you will start to generate income. You will start to generate people wanting to invest back into you, and you'll have more to create. You'll have more access to create wealth with. So that's some of the things I tell people to at least start working on today.
That's what's up. Look, good people, we're going to do this every week. We're going to do this every week because we are two people who love to talk about wealth creation, especially in the Black community, because we don't talk about it. Nope. Even though other people won't talk about it, we're going to set aside a night like this to talk about it because it is important. Yes. Because again, I can't have you fine, but you're broke.
Those two don't go together.
They don't go together.
They don't
go together. So, Rashima, thank you for hanging out with me, and we'll do this again next week.
It's been an honor.
Tell the people on Periscope bye too.
Bye. It was nice chatting with you all tonight. Have a great night.
That's what's going on. And good people who are on Blab right now, thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully, we've been a blessing to you. Hopefully, you got some good nuggets from it. We'll be back next week. And thank y'all for hanging with us.
See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bless.